Yeah, it's KD the one. I'm here with another solo reaction video. I'm here watching a TyBuggy video. You know he always be cooking for us, but like this is some shit that's kind of new to me. Harassment culture made men look like predators. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know nothing about this harassment culture, but I really do want to see what this is like because I do know people who can be a little too overbearing, a little bit what's the word? I'll just say rough around the edges, right? Especially when it comes to acting with females, they act a little bit more violent, more vulgar than normal. But I don't know if this is how people are moving, coming from YNs to this. I feel like the next video is just gonna be like men don't know how to talk to females no more. Really, dead ass. But let's
You
get
may
into it.
not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not. Yeah. And you are accountable for that as well.
You are a man who is an ally to women. You're going to have to speak up on the behalf of women.
Not even a little bit.
The truth is, everybody having all these accountability talks only need one person to be accountable. Themselves. Do you ever hold yourself accountable?
Women often talk about their experiences getting harassed by men, whether it's during the nightlife like at a club or a bar, or even something a little bit more public like a gas station, the grocery store. Women say that they're getting harassed in all of these places. And as a father and a husband, this is something that I think about whenever my wife or my daughter leaves the house, because I know what kind of world it is out there. And some men do not have any control over themselves. So this conversation has been going crazy on social media lately, and the conversation is surrounded around who should be taking responsibility for the bad men in society that are harassing these women.
You may not harass women. You may know how to.
Okay. The conversation going around is who should take responsibility for the fucking bad men. The bad men going around should take responsibility for themselves. I don't know why men as a whole should take responsibility for a culture of men who are fucking up. I can honestly say that. Like, wait, give me a second. Let me lock in. I gotta lock in. Light skin mode. When it comes to this, I really don't understand. Like, if females are doing something bad, I feel like we shouldn't put all females in this group where they're all the problem. Same thing for men. I don't believe that we should put them in this group where they're all the problem just when a small majority of them are doing terrible things. Now, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to this culture, I feel like I said, there's a lot of people who do this rough around the stereotype fucking way of moving, but like again, this never been something that's new to the game. It's something that's always been out there. There's been men that's been predators, and some people say it's been worse back in the day. If you really sit there and say who should we blame, I honestly believe that we should blame those men and stop coddling them for what they do and start actually holding them accountable for their actions.
To take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da 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 da. I have to go on the actions of the group.
Right.
The group as a whole and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted.
Right.
And if you can understand that as a black man and your stance towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a war on you waged by women. Actually, the war get a little thicker when we start talking about it from the perspective of a woman and the greater society of racism and white supremacy being waged against black people, and then the patriarchal society being waged against women. So they have to deal with two elements. One of those elements we don't have to think about, and honestly, we're perpetuated.
Mm.
And it's perpetuated against us young to look at women as objects.
Right.
You know, to look at women only through the lens of a sexual desire and not as the human being that they are. And when you understand.
Now, this brother is spin. But this is when I honestly say that we should start taking accountability for ourselves. I feel like even though that people are being portrayed in these sexual manners and we are taught at a young age to only see them as such and such, it's for us to grow up and actually realize they're not this, to actually see women for who they are, to see black people for who they are and not just go off of the speculation of someone else's experiences and experience stuff on our own. Now, if you have got burnt in the past and that's the reason why you see stuff the way that you do, then that's different than just viewing it off of, okay, this culture's fucked, so, or yada yada, I heard this happened before, so now it's better to make those experiences on your own. I'm not going to hold you, because then you can learn how not to fall into those type of situations.
And how to deal with women on a human level, you understand how much women will enrich your life.
Amen. Amen.
You want to turn it up a notch?
Yeah.
Get you a good woman get you a good black woman in your corner.
Amen.
Hey man, you want to see your life turn up?
Hey.
And see, this is the thing though. It's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? We often disregard the power of our black women. The spiritual essence that they're gonna bring to things. The knowing, the seeing, you know what I'm saying? Also too, imagine it, they have to be hyper vigilant because they have to be constantly scanning the room, making sure that they're in a safe situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When we think about these kids who were clearly in Louisiana having the time of their fucking life because they graduated, and we think about white people's reaction to Black joy.
Oh yeah, that's
it's not about civility. It's not about decorum. They don't like to see us happy.
that's what it is.
Now, how often are women just having a good time, and here come a nigga trying to ruin their fun?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. You can call it pandering, but if I was up here caping for white women, you wouldn't even mention that word. If I was up here caping for Hispanic women, you wouldn't even call it pandering. Only when we take pride and show love to black women do you call it pandering.
See, I don't want to sit here and say that he is pandering, because there is a majority of black women who do see situations like this and see it that they have it worse. But in the light is, I want to put out, people really, it's not just women, it's not just men, it's not blacks, it's not white. People are out there and they still have these feelings where they have to look over their shoulder, where experiences happen and they face it at face value, or they live up or they grow up in situations where there's tough exteriors, there's people out there that's out to hurt them, yada yada like that. Now, when there's people who grow up like that and people who don't, I feel like there's an incline where there's a lot of people who will look at this and be like, "Oh, he's pandering," or "Oh, y'all taking it too serious. It's not like that. It's not." But to be fair, when it comes to it, harassment has always been out there. It's not a new thing. Like I said, it's not something new. It's something that's always been out.
Get your motherfucking mind right.
Dudes on social media are gonna say you're pandering regardless. If you are on the side of women, if you're defending women
They're
in
gonna say it.
general, dudes on the internet are gonna say you're pandering. So just take the whole race thing out of it. I think what he's talking about can speak to everybody. I don't think this is just a black man and black woman type of situation. While I kind of see the main sentiment of what he's trying to say, one thing I just want to speak towards is when he said that seeing women have fun and men want to go over there and ruin it. I don't think most men see women having fun and they actually want to ruin it. Now, there is a group of men that maybe think like that, but that's another conversation. Now, is there a group of men that's probably on that? Yeah, probably, but I don't think that's most men that see women having fun. They're like, oh, nah, I know women not over there having fun. Let's go over there and ruin it. But the main argument that is going viral from this is that he's basically saying that men should be held accountable for the bad men of society that are harassing women. This is what a creator by the name of John Cannon had to say about that.
This whole Deontay Kyle, men are accountable for the men who are terrible bullshit is really like opened up a train of thinking for me, and I really gotta get this out. It seems as if women want to perfect the social environment instead of existing within it. And what I mean by that is, like, imagine a hunter goes into the woods and instead of accepting the fact that there's bears and mosquitoes and old trees that might fall and dangers. Instead of him accepting that, he starts complaining. Why are there bears out here? Oh my God, why are the mosquitoes biting? Instead of choosing to stay indoors and go live in the city and buy your meat out of a market. Follow me. I'm a bad person if I say, if you don't like those environments and the negative things that come with those environments, stay out of those environments. I have never been to a club in my entire life. I have never been to a strip club, a hookah lounge, a bar in my entire life. I have lived a very intentional life. I went from my mother's daycare to elementary school, to middle school, to high school, to college, and to work. Within there, I was a little gym ratty. I played sports. I did this and that. That's how I got my social interaction on. And that's how most people do get their social interaction on. We have these very large conversations about a very small amount of people. And again, I just do want to reiterate, if you don't like the negative experiences that come along with like the environments you like to be in, don't try to change said environment. It's too big. There's too many variables. There's too many people to depend on lining up with your personal moral code. Instead, remove yourself from said environments. Why am I having a conversation about what happens at the club? Why are we regular people with 9-to-5 jobs having full-blown discourse and conversations about what happens when a woman rejects a man in the club and he like, you ugly anyway, bitch? Why are we talking about that? Most of us don't even participate in that.
I could agree with him. I'm not really the type of nigga that goes out that do all that shit unless I'm out with friends. I'll go to the beach. I'll go out and go get some drinks. Probably chill at a fucking restaurant or something. But I'm not that type of person that'll be like, yeah, let's go to the club, let's go party and all that. Cause really, I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation unless I'm there with people that I find comfortable as hell. Now, I wouldn't say that talking about is like different. If you have someone that you with that likes talking about it, then yeah, they most likely gonna blab your ear off on some shit. But like, if you're constantly on some shit like him, let's say this, if you're like us type people that don't do shit like that, and you're constantly on the internet seeing niggas go to the club, seeing niggas do shit like that, and then y'all on some shit like, yeah, I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with that. That's the main reason why shit's wrong. That's the main thing. Uh, these men are fucked up. These women are fucked up. But that's how clubbing always been. That's how they had their fun. Now club culture changed because of the fact that I don't know. I could just be yapping on, but like I don't know. I see it like that. I just see a similar thing for what he's saying is also correct. Like if you're in a environment that is physically, mentally, or anything harming you, and you feel like you can't take it, before you sit here on some shit thinking you could change the environment, see if you could remove yourself, and that would help. Because if removing yourself helps, now I'm not gonna say if you're working for something you feel like you need that push and you push it and it helps you, go do it. But if you feel like it's going nowhere and you're still taking a backlash, you're still taking a drain, it might be time to remove yourself and reevaluate your situation.
Most of us, I, I would like to say that if you're a married man, woman, why the fuck are you in the strip club, the club, a bar? What are you do? Go to a nice dinner. Sit at the house. Be grown. I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm tweaking.
Okay, so that first video, that guy's name was Deontay Kyle. The second brother, the dark-skinned brother, his name was John Cannon, all right? So keep up with me. So Deontay Kyle is basically saying men need to hold other men accountable for harassing women. John Cannon is basically saying women need to hold themselves accountable and not go to places that they feel like that they know they'll be harassed. Which made sense when he used the analogy of the woods. But when you think about the woods, you think about a dangerous place. I don't think women are only getting harassed at dangerous places. Women complain about getting harassed in gas stations and Walmart and all type of just common places. It doesn't have to be a dangerous place like a nightclub. And see, for us men, you know, we could just walk through Walmart and we could buy what we want to buy and just walk out. Our reality is completely different from the experiences that women are having. But to go back onto what Deontay Kyle said about men holding other men accountable, this is something that we could really strip from all men and remove them from their weird ways. I kind of get both of their points.
You want to know what's crazy? I don't have a problem with what Deontay Kyle said. I actually support what he said. But I only support it as long as I can apply that logic across the field. We're not just going to restrict it towards black men. No. You as a black woman have to be accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable for the best and stole from me, set me up to get killed, gaslighted me, physically abused me, emotionally abused me. You have to be accountable for that as a black woman. As a black man, I have to be accountable for that white people don't want to deal with. Hey, it is what it is. Most black people act like niggas. So I have to be accountable for what every white person doesn't want to deal with me. They not wrong for that now. This logic that y'all trying to like pass by is gonna change the game. I'm cool with it as long as I can apply it to you, and that's where the disconnect comes in, because you think you're better than me. So the logic doesn't apply to you. You're a black woman. You don't do anything wrong to anybody. You've never done.
See, here's why I could say like how Ty said, I agree with both sides, but like if we really do, okay, I could take myself accountable for 100% of the things I do. I can't take Billy, Bob, and Joe fully accountable for their actions. Now, I can make sure that there's consequences for their actions and do yada yada like that, but I can't make sure that they're like gonna do such and such a certain type of way. It's not gonna make sense like that. Now, when it comes to what he's saying, I also agree with that. It should be a all side thing. It's not. It shouldn't just be black men should take other black men accountable. It should be men should take themselves accountable for what they do, and if you see something, take care of it. Like you could sit here and call the police. You could sit here and take care of the man. I don't condone violence, but if someone's actually harassing someone, you can end up intervening that situation. Same thing. And like he's saying, I want females to be accountable too. Like if we gonna be on this shit, you can't be like, yes, lying, oh, I wanna do this, that, and the third. You can't be sitting here manipulating all these men. Y'all gotta stay accountable for y'all actions if y'all actually are these type of people. He's not talking to every single person, he's talking to the people who needs to hear this. But at the same time, for what he's saying about people being better, if you're that type of person that really sit here on some stuff and you aren't the person he's talking to, yet you still feel like you're that type of person that's like, oh, he should sit here. Most likely, you're that person that he's talking about, thinking that you're better, because he's just sitting here talking to the people that needs to hear this, the manipulative females, the females that's actually on some shit, the niggas who are actually on some shit.
Done anything wrong to anybody. So how can anybody think that, how can anybody have this type of same logical fallacy with you? You're perfect. You're a black woman. I know. All you niggas is panderers. Soon as y'all get money from women and start seeing how much women contribute to the capitalism with their ignorance and emotional financial decisions, y'all niggas start pandering. Deontay Kyle was a cool nigga till he started seeing put money in his pocket.
Up, and the first thing I see is that Deontay Kyle clip. First off, let me lead. I definitely mess with bro's content normally. However, his most recent take that basically all men are responsible for the actions of all men makes no sense. And I'm gonna tell you why that was said though. Online, a lot of us men are terrified of ever pissing off women. So instead of saying something that like genuinely makes sense, we'll say something that's closer to something that they would say. That's where you get panderers from. Now I'm not saying that bro is a panderer. I don't think that because I've seen a lot of his content. I will say that what he said there is edging on it though. See, the fear comes from being called things like a misogynist, a schmexist, basically being labeled anything that like any woman just hates. The problem with it is it can cloud your judgment to the point where you start saying stuff that doesn't make any sense. Casey Anthony did what she did to her child. You didn't blame all women for that. Your girlfriend hurt somebody. She's allowed to be an individual. She did the wrongdoing. Diddley does diddler things, and somehow an entire gender is responsible for it. Let me be probably the 10,000th person to tell you he's wrong. The truth is, everybody having all these accountability talks only need one person to be accountable. Themselves. Do you ever hold yourself accountable for anything? If not, please stay out of accountability conversations.
Before I speak on anything, I want to speak on the word harassment because harassment can mean a lot of different things depending on who's saying it. And I feel like the lines get blurred a lot of times when it comes to the word harassment. I don't believe that women getting approached and women being harassed is the same thing. Because on one hand, you have women saying, I'm not approaching a man even if I'm attracted to him. That's his job to approach me. So men have taken it on as their responsibility that if they see a woman and they're attracted to him, to go over there and find out if she is too attracted to him. So now you have some women that will call this harassment. She's not actually attracted to the guy. It's like, why are you talking to me? You're harassing me. But if she's attracted to him, she's gonna call it smooth and noble and confident. And then for the women that may say things like, yeah, but why would I want to be talked to or approached in Walmart or the gas station or just while I'm minding my business? You have to understand, not all men want to meet a woman at the bar or at the club. So sometimes just meeting a woman in their day-to-day is the best route, which is why you have dudes meeting girls at the gas stations or supermarkets, because these are common places that we all walk through. So this type of interaction, I don't believe is always harassment, especially depending on the intent. But how you do things really matters, and I think that's where the line gets drawn, what makes it harassment.
I've come to this realization as I've developed and matured as a young man about the way certain men perceive what Deontay Kyle said. There is a frightening amount of men, even black men, that are just absolutely stupid, like ridiculously stupid and emotionally underdeveloped. There is a large epidemic of men that are emotionally walking around with the brain of a 16-year-old. I'm talking to grown-ass men who are like 10, 20 years older than me, and I'm like, why are you so obsessed with women? You have a shit ton of money, but you're dealing with a chick that's like half your age, and you're arguing with her. But it's like the way you're interacting with women and the way that you view women, it means to me there's a certain part of your brain that still has not like developed yet.
Now I want to talk about everybody that says that Deontay Kyle is pandering to women. This is my problem with social media. A lot of people on social media feel like there's only two sides, either the women's side or the men's side. If you agree with the women, then you're with the women. If you agree with the men, then you're with the men. So any man that...
See, this is one thing that I'm really tired of. I have a fatigue on dividing people. I feel like every conversation leads to another divide that's pushing more arguments that people don't need. Like, we have these conversations that lead to race that always go to black, white, the white woman that called the fucking black kid a slur, the hard ER, the Camelo Anthony situation going to race, situations like this talking about why men are the problem, why females are the problem. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm starting to get tired of hearing that there's always one side. This side is the problem when really people should start taking accountabilities for themselves. Now, I'm sorry that every time you look at a forum on the internet talking about something specific, you see people agreeing or disagreeing to it, and now you think all people are like that. I'm sorry that you see that. But again, there's outliers who really don't give a fuck, who really just see this as a normal everyday thing. Going out to the supermarket and talking to people should be an everyday thing. We talk about social interactions going down so far that people can't even like interact without fucking doing some stupid shit, or the people are only able to talk online. I see shit like that. Like, hell, y'all rather get someone DMing you doing all that than someone meeting y'all at the supermarket. Y'all rather meet someone at the club that's probably only showing off, who probably live in a motel down the street, than fucking meet someone that's probably sitting there at the gas station buying gas or some shit. Like, bro, I don't know.
that kind of wants to defend women is now called a panderer, or you're pandering to women. Like, you're saying whatever you have to say so women can agree with you. Two things could always be true. I do not agree with everything that men put on the internet. I do not agree with everything that women put on the internet. But what I do know is that I'm a man. So I can't really speak from the perspective of what women are experiencing throughout this world. I can't say that, oh, don't go to a dangerous place if you don't want to receive danger. No, by all means, yes. But harassment doesn't just happen in dangerous places. And as a father and a husband, when I sit my wife down or I sit my daughter down and I tell them how to deal with men out there when I'm not around, I'm equipping them what they need to know, because yes, this world is very dangerous. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I don't know dangers of how some men cannot take rejection, some men cannot take a no, or some men that have zero sexual control, and if they see somebody and they're feeling some type of way inside, they may act on that. So yes, that's why I may say, hey, put this pepper spray in your purse, because I know the world is a dangerous place, and it's not only in bad places. Do I feel like men could hold each other accountable? I definitely do. I do feel like we could start teaching our young boys that chasing women is not the way to go. Even though nobody told you that chasing women was the way to go, but telling a little boy that the more women, the better, will have some dudes
Now that's different. When it comes to the next generation, I honestly believe that coming to a understanding of how to respect women for the next generation should be the top regard for men and women. First thing, I feel like that should be something that we should do. Teach females how to respect themselves and teach men how to respect females. That should be a top regard. But if it comes to it and talking about how I should teach another grown man how to fucking do some shit, I don't know. But teaching the men, the future men, the men of tomorrow, that's completely different. I completely agree with this man.
chasing these numbers or seeing women as just numbers, which is what I think Deontay Kyle is trying to say. We can hold our friends accountable. Like, yo, leave her alone, bro. She don't want to be bothered. Yo, bro, don't be grabbing up
Yeah,
on her
shit
like
like
that.
that.
That's a bit much. Or talking to our sons. I think that's what he's trying to say. That's the part we
As
can
women,
play.
I don't
Now,
understand why everyone is so upset with what John said. We as women, we do have to stop putting ourselves in dangerous environments. Let me tell you what happened to me when I put myself in a dangerous environment. That dangerous environment being the hallway in my apartment building. I'm leaving the parking garage, and as I enter the building, I have to turn, and my neighbor, he's a street pharmacist. He has some Hispanic guy at his door knocking on the door, but I guess he wasn't answering the door. So as I'm walking by, he's like, "Can you call him? Can you open door? Can you knock on door?" I'm like, "I don't know this man. I'm just his neighbor." And he would not let me pass so that I can get to my apartment. So I turned back around. I went the other way. Don't you know, as I'm walking in the other way, he's coming out the other way. So I just kept walking, trying to get to my apartment as fast as possible. This man turns around. He's running down the hallway and he grabbed me. I had to start throwing bows on this man that I have never met before in my life. Very unprovoked. I'm just walking down the hallway trying to get to my apartment. And I'm being harassed and grabbed, and God knows what else he would have done had I not bopped him up. So yes, ladies, don't go outside, okay? We have Uber Eats, DoorDash, Walmart Plus, whatever delivery.
Like I said, if you've been burnt, I'm sorry. This is not for you for like people to be bashing on your situation. But really, when I think of people saying remove yourself from those environments, not like that. I'm talking. I feel like people are on some shit like Bisepa going to the club every day where a situation could happen, going to a random party where you don't know any of these people, going out to fucking at wrong times, going to bad neighborhoods, or probably talking to dangerous people and expecting that only good things to come out of it. That is where putting yourself in a dangerous environment you should probably remove yourself from. Same thing. If you have a work ethic or some shit like that and you feel like that shit's really killing you and you feel like you really aren't getting nowhere, probably remove yourself from that environment before you end up actually taking it to that extent.
Free service. Don't go outside. Outside is a very dangerous environment. You can't even walk down your hallway in your apartment. You can't go to the parking garage. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere. So John was right. You got it. We're going to stay in the house. We just never going to leave the house. I haven't left my house since 2020. I've been in this house.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not. Yeah. And you are accountable for that as well.
Not even a little bit. No, this nigga is a visionary. He's great. Every time I get one of his clips pop up, love him. He missed hard on this one. Because where does that stop? If I took a poll from every man, probably him included, for how many women hit on them, I'm talking about even a boy stop. See, we don't see that as like abuse. But never in my life have I been mad at a woman that was like, girl, stop. Stop.
I'm gonna use this because I feel like this is completely bad as an example. Like, let me give y'all a good example for what he's saying. Right? Zoe Spencer. Zoe Spencer went on stream biting people. She went on stream hitting people, yelling at niggas, cursing niggas out, doing the utmost. We had Blueface X, Krishan going up on stream, throwing chairs and shit, being the most like obnoxious person. And really, even though people panda and look at this shit as jokes, there's people out there that do associate with this behavior as, oh, I think it's funny, so I'ma do it. Now, when it comes to those people, they should take accountability. Now, I know that we don't see it at the same light as we see certain men doing certain things because we don't hear it as much. I feel like men should, one thing we should do as men is stop doing stuff in silence. If we expect stuff to actually be better for us as future men, we should stop doing shit in silence. I know no one wants to say that. I know being a man is supposed to be silent and stoic and shit. But if we stop doing shit in silence, I feel like we will end up being better for ourselves in the future. And not just as men, women, all that. If we stop doing stuff as he said, she said, and start taking accountability for our own actions. Men should take accountability for themselves. Females should take accountability for themselves. That should be how it is. And really, I know it's going to be a long time until that shit comes. Really.
Playing with me. I've never done that. Because it's just, you just don't hit on women. And if we took another poll about how many men have been hit by women while the woman was mad, see, being hit out of anger is different. I don't care if it hurt or not. Watching someone's face snarl up and they start swinging on you, even if it doesn't hurt, how many men have been through that? Why am I bringing that up? Because I don't think women who don't hit men should be held accountable just as much as the women who do. You understand what I'm saying? Never in my, first of all, I've never lived a life where like I'm just posted up and I'm like, hey, shawty in the pink shorts, come here. I've never done no shit like that in my life. I know a lot of guys do. I simply have not. I don't. And then when she like, no, I don't like you. Well, I'll fuck you, bitch, anyway. You ugly. Woo woo. That sorry ass nigga ain't got nothing to do with me. He got this much. He ain't got nothing to do with me. And I will never be held accountable for a motherfucker who.
Like I said, niggas like that, that shouldn't do nothing to me until it escalate. Now, that nigga, fuck that bitch, and doing all that, okay, cool. I'ma observe that. Now, if I have nothing to do with that, if he's my homeboy or some shit, I'll be like, bro, what the fuck, you good or some shit? That's it. If I don't have no association, this man don't put hands on that female, I'm going on well my day. This nigga not doing nothing to put himself in the limelight. If he not harassing her, actually hitting her, or doing anything, I'm going on well my day. That's the only way I'm going to go into that situation.
Who act like that? That's like me being accountable for a deadbeat dad.
All my kids live in my motherfucking house. I'm married to their mama. I provide, I cook, I clean, I bathe them at night and shit. I brush their teeth because they won't let their mama do it. I'm the disciplinary up in this bitch. I'm not being held accountable for nothing a trash ass nigga got. What? Oh, way. No way. And so when we get on social media and you hear a woman have a take like these men are aggressive and da-da-da-da, and a nigga go, not me. I don't know who she fucking talking to. That's because she at the Jacksonville Fair walking past a light post with 18 niggas posted up. Why are you at the Jacksonville Fair downtown? I'm not saying you should have to be subjected to the shit.
See, but that's the thing. Like, one thing I don't understand. So a female can't go downtown in the fair and have fun. Now, I'm a strong believer that a female shouldn't go out alone. But like again, not every man could hold their hand. There's gonna be situations where my girl is out there and I'm not gonna be with her. I'm not gonna be able to hold her hand every single place. I have that heavy trust in her that she could take care of herself in a situation. Now, when it comes to that, I'm not going to end up looking at her and be like, oh, why are you in the fair? Again, I feel like that's like looking at it with low sympathy. But I feel like when you sit here and think of it like, oh, why are you in a club but you talking about men dancing on you, men sitting here? Now, again, you could sit here on some shit, exit yourself away from them, exit yourself out of the club. And if it escalates from that point, that's when some shit, if no one helps you, they are trash for not doing it. Again, a lot of people like being bystanders and shit. I don't like that. I don't like when people be bystanders. I know people aren't really willing to risk their life for some other person, but again, when it comes to certain situations, I couldn't just sit there and watch some shit happen. So I will put myself in the middle of that. But again, for a man like me, I don't go out in the clubs. For a man like me, I don't go out to bars and all that shit. So if you want a man to sit here and save you, most likely those men ain't gonna be doing the same shit that you're doing.
I'm just saying that's why I don't go. Too many niggas posted up for no reason. They're not even enjoying the festivities. You know what I'm saying there's a way to stay away from this shit, and it's to stop going. But y'all love events, bro, where niggas like that exist. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I promise you it don't.
Now, see, folks, I'm confused. Because I thought that men said that they were the leaders, had a household, that they're the ones to lead the change. But when another man says that they need to start holding themselves accountable and call out the abusive behavior of other men to support women, then all of a sudden those men say it's not their responsibility. I'm also...
Again, it's not holding ourselves accountable. Yeah, we're gonna hold ourselves accountable. It's holding the man beside us accountable. Holding the future generation accountable sounds different. I would love saying that. Holding the future generation accountable sounds so much better, because if we're holding the future generation, the men around us that we aspire or that we represent, if we're doing those, like keeping them accountable, that sounds right. But to keep the person on the street accountable for their actions, a stranger, there is no way that I can do that. Same way how a nice female like her, she don't look like she does anything wrong. It's bad that most people will look at her, oh, she's a black woman. She's most likely out there in the strip club throwing that, doing all this, that, and the third, and they wouldn't sit here and hold her for her characteristics. They just hold her for what her gender does, what her race does.
Confused because the men are out here yelling free thinker, free thinker, free thinker. But the moment another man has a thought that does not match yours, i.e. he supports women and he's speaking up on the behalf of women, all of a sudden he's pandering. See, because I know that you all were not going to listen to women anyway, which is why a lot of women have been telling men, hey, they don't even see us as people. So if you are a man who is an ally to women, you're going to have to speak up on the behalf of women, because them other dusty motherfuckers are not going to listen to us. So now we do have men speaking up on the behalf of women, and y'all are mad at them too. It's like you want to be able to be openly abusive to women, and you're upset that other men are not also openly abusive to women, because that's not following bro code. That's not what the guys do. She's not going to let you hit. What the men are realizing, the ones that are allies, is that patriarchy not only affects women, but it also affects men. And the men who are allies, what they are coming across are other men who absolutely hate their fucking guts. They're coming across other men who are trying to tell them that they should not be supporters and allies of women, especially when women are talking about the abuse that they are going through. They are basically discouraged from helping other women. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? Like, what do men benefit from discouraging other men from supporting and being there for other women?
I ain't even gonna lie, this video is longer than I expected it to be. I actually got into this fucking video more than I thought. But really, let me know how y'all feel about this. I'm still gonna post this. TyBuggy, I fully agree with what he was saying more than like what anybody else was saying, really. But again, I could keep myself accountable. I could try to keep the future generation accountable. I could keep my friends accountable. But when it comes to the men that's right next door that I don't have no association with, I can't keep him accountable for everything that he does. I understand that. But when it comes to, again, this divide on people, that's the main reason why I get thrown off by situations like this. If y'all want to see the rest of this video, y'all already know I'm going to put this bit in the description. I'll see y'all boys next time. Again, for the people who made it to the end of the video, I love y'all. See y'all boys next time. Peace.